Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share with you 5 easy and cheap DIY garden trellis that you can use in your garden. So let's get started. For the first one is using bamboo for your garden trellis. So if you love to grow squash, beans, gourd, cucumbers, any vining, climbing, or trailing vegetables that you like to grow in your garden, eggplants as well if you have, or tomatoes. Bamboos are really very environmental friendly and easy to make garden trellis and very cheap. You can get them in your nearest Home Depot or Lowe's, or if it's growing in your backyard, you could just chop it and stake it in your garden. So here in my garden, I use bamboos to make a trellis or a frame trellis. I use it for the gourds, bottle gourds, and lots of vining vegetables as well as sweet potatoes. If, for example, you have a small garden like I have, you can use this type of trellis to minimize the space and also avoid them from too crowded and allowing to have your plants a good air circulations to avoid from pests and disease as well. Vegetables like sweet potatoes, if you just let it sprawl around in your garden or crawl around, it can occupy the whole area or the whole garden. So I highly recommend to use bamboos for saving limited space in your garden. And for the number 2 is using metal garden sticks. There are lots of metal garden sticks that some are coated with plastics to prevent from rusting, and they are also a good alternative if you don't have bamboo sticks or stakes that is available to you. This works well for really heavy fruiting vegetables. Metal garden stick is really great. You can add some different kinds of trellis with it, mix it with twigs, branches, or even PVC pipes, like the one here that I made for my bottle gourd plant. I have used metal garden sticks. It is really sturdy and affordable. I made it low so that if it's gonna be heavy, it is not too much pressure for the plants. And since gourd is really crawling and vining vegetables, it really makes sense to make trellis, but the one I made is really kind of low, and I highly recommend to use higher trellis or arc if you have, because this gourd really is a bit invasive, special to the neighboring plants. And you can use also this trellis or metal to your tomatoes, peppers. It is really bit sturdy, but I don't recommend it to put it near to your tomato vine too close, as it can hurt the fragile or sensitive stem or vine of your tomatoes. And for the third one is using twigs or branches. So this is really a very practical approach in making garden trellis, because I have big piles of branches and twigs over here that has been cut from the big trees. So instead of burning, you can cut some twigs or branches. It is really very practical and free. So here you can cut up some twigs using sharp scissors or cutter if you have. So instead of buying from the nearby store or Home Depot, you can just cut down some twigs or small branches to clear it up, some leaves, and there you go. You already have your very own garden trellis. So over here in my raised bed garden, I have different kinds of vegetables that I've grown, like watermelons, sponge gourds, squash, and the next to it I have growing and sprawling sweet potatoes. So it acts as a boundary or a fence as well if you don't want to mix it together. And also great trellis. It's a very quick, cheap, free, easy garden trellis on the go, and you can be creative. I have planted also here in the pot some beefsteak tomatoes, and I use twigs and branches to protect and support them, and it's really it's not very appealing, or it's not very pretty, but it does the work. And here in my corner there is one branch that fell from the tree, so instead of buying garden trellis, I just stake it on the ground, and there you go. It's a really very easy and cheap DIY garden trellis on the spot. And also I have used it with my string beans, long beans. Here I have just put them in the ground, and it does the job. I think it can survive like 2 seasons, but I know for long term, if you want sturdier or the one that will not rot, I highly recommend metal garden trellis. So here I have tried them as well in my beans, and it's really great like fence, because I have lots of squash on the ground. And over this way I made an arc. This is just made of PVC and the metal garden stick, so I just used 2 PVC to make the arc for my vining tomatoes and my bottle gourds, since they really need a lot of real estate and space, so they can really take up a lot of space. So by using vertical gardening, it really save a lot of space, and for other vegetables as well. So for example, you have a small garden like I have, you can use vertical gardening and make use of garden trellis, that what's available to you there, and it's very easy, cheap, and almost free. Use these wild grapevines that are just there nearby the backyard, and it's very affordable, cheap. But for sturdier, I highly recommend, yes, the metal garden trellis if you have, or if it's available to you, because some of the fruiting vegetables like the gourds, the squash, are a bit heavy, and if you use sometimes all twigs or branches, sometimes it will not hold it so well, especially during the wet or windy season. A metal trellis works good, but the wooden branches temporarily for short term will do the job. And I experimented different kind of trellis using twigs and plastics or PVC, and then netting as well. You can get creative. It depends on what type of garden you have, but this really easy and cheap garden trellis is very affordable, and you may just find your resources there in your backyard. Last easy and cheap DIY garden trellis is that you can mix different kind of materials to make garden trellis. So here I have a broken tent, so instead of throwing it, you can use the metal part of it. So as you can see, guys, this has circular metal on it, so this is really great to make a creative DIY garden trellis. So what it is just cut or remove the metal part of the tent, and then make an arc out of it, and use my bamboo, and then I use twines or strings, and then viola. It's already an instant easy and cheap DIY garden trellis. So if, for example, you have different kind of materials, you can mix them together and create your very own easy and cheap DIY garden trellis. So there you go, friends. Those are the 5 easy and cheap garden trellis that you can use in your garden. Please let me know in the comment section what is your favorite way of using your garden trellis at home. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!